Here we are, vlog number 7. Amazing. I can't believe we've come this far. I'm so honored and thankful to have a good friend of mine, Nachum Wasosky, founder and CEO of Geerz. I just want to be clear, just a little intro about why we're here. Again, I always say this vlog is meant to help people make Aliyah, to help Olim from overseas come to Israel and realize that Israel is a fully functioning society where things are organized, and you can actually the klita, the Aliyah process does not need to be a miserable experience, or it's going to be difficult living here. But I think Nachum has something very special to offer people that's unique in Israel. So we're going to jump into it. Nachum, if you could tell us a couple lines about yourself, where you're from, your family, how long ago did you make Aliyah?
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. Aside from being on this vlog, just being close friends with you for so many years. So thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
And thank you for what you're doing for the people of Israel. My wife and I both grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, made Aliyah in 2008 into Ramat Beit Shemesh Aleph. We have been here the entire time. Most of my wife's family is residing in Ra'anana. Over the years, they all came as well. We came on an Aliyah of 10 of us. We had 4 kids at the time, and my mother, my wife's parents and brother came. Now there's over 30 of us, including kids, grandkids,
Wow.
great-grandkids. At a family function right now, there's about 60 actually. There's 60 of us at a family function now, 15 years later. We have 5 children right now, and we are, as you say all the time, we're, in reality, living a dream.
What was one challenge that you had in making Aliyah?
Shul is a big thing. Shul is a challenge. I think now, 15 years later, still a little bit of a challenge, because most of our lives, we grow up, America, shul plays a central role in community. Here, it's a little bit less. Just having, a different mindset. And I'm still working on it. I'm still working on, from the time I was little, going to shul, getting my little candy pekalach from the rabbi or the candy man. It's just not the same.
I just want to clarify. Nachum's having a challenge finding his shul, his place, because Nachum is the type of person that's always looking to grow and wants to be always in a better place for his family. He really wants a place where his family can feel a community. Special about Nachum himself. Let's talk about Geerz. Tell me about why is it called Geerz? What are you offering? What does Geerz do? I happen to be a founding member as well of Geerz. I was there day one when Geerz started. Still currently a board member, not a very active board member, but but I do what I can. And but the goal here is not necessarily to sell Geerz. The goal is to tell people about what Geerz can offer an Olim.
Geerz was started 12 years ago. It is a therapeutic mountain biking program for kids ages 7 to 15. So what Geerz does is it's for everybody. We call it a therapeutic mountain biking program. In a nutshell, basically, you have groups of kids that go out every single week, once a week throughout the school year, and they go out in groups of 12 with 2 instructors. They go on a mountain biking ride, and in the middle of the ride, they stop. We have a curriculum. We have 5 years of curriculum, and the instructor teaches the group of kids something about the bike or biking or maintenance or how to survive in the hills and nature. And then also connected to that, some kind of a life lesson, some kind of a lesson that will help them succeed for the rest of their lives. On a weekly basis, we're nearing this year 400 kids a week.
Wow.
In the program. We are in 15 different locations throughout the country. We started here in Ramat Beit Shemesh. So Ramat Beit Shemesh is a hub. We have over 100, we have about 150 kids a week in Ramat Beit Shemesh, but we've grown throughout the country, north and south. And a main focus right now is there's something here in Israel called a youth village, which social services takes kids out of their homes because they are in difficult situations. And we are operating in this year, we'll be in 10 different youth villages in the country.
That's unbelievable. It's amazing how you've taken something as an Ola in an Israeli society where it's very bureaucratic here. And to start an organization, you've created a CE46, which is like the equivalent of a 501c3 in Israel, and you've figured it all out, and you brought something special to the community. Would you say that most of your bikers that you have in any city, I guess separate from the youth villages, are they Anglo, Israeli? What's the ratio?
I'm English speaker, made Aliya here, all my friends like yourself, right? How did it start spreading? It spread through our friends. So the overwhelming majority here in the Ramat Beit Shemesh area, of course, in Modi'in, we were in Efrat, we were in Ranana. And so the overwhelming majority, 80% are English speakers. Although now, as we are growing and as the years go on, so it's kind of switching a little bit, whereas most of the newer riders today, especially as we expand around the country, it's flipping to more 80% Hebrew speakers.
Interesting. And the courses are given these when the kids are taken out, the instructors, are they speaking English or are they speaking Hebrew?
So it depends on the group. So for example, in Modi'in, one group is in Hebrew and one group is in English. In Beit Shemesh, there's 15 groups a week, and it just depends on the group. So, and we have English speaking instructors and we have Hebrew speaking instructors, and based on the group, that's the language we speak in. And then we always have a second and sometimes a third assistant. So if there's one or two kids who didn't understand what's going on, let's say, for example, the group is an Israeli group primarily, and everything is in Hebrew. So all of a sudden, you have one Ole who speaks English only and doesn't understand what's going on. So we have almost like a shadow, and we have a English speaking instructor that is helping them with the English or with the Hebrew.
What if somebody's making Aliyah and they know their son or daughter? There's girls groups as well. This isn't just for boys. I don't know if you mentioned that or not.
Correct.
So somebody's coming to Israel and they're like, their kid likes to ride a bike. Do they have to bring a bike from America, or they could buy a bike here? I know we always talk about this question, but I'd like to address it because I think it's something that'll help Olim, when they're thinking about what they're putting on their lift.
Right.
I'm sure you get that question a lot.
You mentioned about the Olim here and coming, and Geerz, we have literally dozens of anecdotal stories of how Geerz saved their kid's life in Aliyah. Meaning, imagine getting off that plane. Little bit, some kids are not so happy of coming. Maybe they're happy, but they're a little bit, obviously, the anxieties and your peer group and friends. You're leaving a huge group of friends. You come here, I don't know anybody, or I know one or two people only. So imagine just being put into a group of kids that it's a really therapeutic experience, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, even. And they become your brothers or sisters immediately, day one. Now, aside from all the therapeutic stuff that we're talking about and how it builds an individual, how it builds character of the kid, the social group that they immediately enter into has literally been a lifesaver for dozens. That's number one. Number two is the bike. So I'm a big fan of blue and white and spending your money here. Really, the cost differential is not so much different. Okay. And at the same time, if you have a bike in America, you should bring it already. And I don't know if I would go so far as to go, especially before you're making Aliyah. Things are so tense, to go out and like, we got to, amongst everything else that we're doing, right? Am I bringing my my Weber grill and my uni and everything else? All of a sudden, like, we got to go stop at the bike store, which could take hours. We are no longer a third world country. We have everything here, and we even have bikes at really good prices. And of course, by the way, as we all know, if you buy a bike at a store, that guy's going to take care of you forever.
This is true. This is true. We have great bike shops here. You kind of touched on it in the first point of your answer over here, but if you could tell us perhaps a specific story of a way that an Ole came to Israel and they joined Geerz and they had challenges, a specific story of the way somebody or you help somebody overcome a challenge in Aliyah, that would be great.
There's so many of them. One in particular has multiple points to touch upon where the kid was really struggling, having a hard time. And somebody said to him, listen, put your kid in Geerz. They had no idea what Geerz was.
How old was this kid?
He was 9 or 10 years old, and it was a boy. And he was having a hard time in school. Obviously, the language is tough. And, there's all the youth groups here, right? Again, whether you're more yeshivish, there's youth groups for you. There's B'nai Kiva, there's Ezra, there's, the whole gamut, right? The one thing that we don't lack is extra programming here. Actually, it's the opposite of America. Here there's a school for every little niche. There's a youth group for every little niche. But the kid just did, even the youth groups coming in, it was hard. It's a lot. That you walk in sometimes to a youth group and there's dozens of kids. It's overwhelming here. So they said, listen, these are small groups of kids. Can you imagine like just walking in instead of having 100 kids in a room at a youth group? I'm not saying youth groups are negative. They're awesome. And sometimes just to get your foot in the door, just to create that, that small friendship circle. So we, through Geerz, we're offering these social groups of 10 to 12 kids. The kid got involved in the group, and all of a sudden, that group's an eclectic group of kids, 12 other kids, and some of them are in this youth group and some are in that youth group. So before he knows it, now he's tied in, or she is tied in to many other groups, many other social groups. Father said to me, you saved my kid's life. My kid literally was depressed.
I just got chilled. I literally just got chills. Oh my gosh. Because I see it, I know it. I've seen it myself. It's just hearing it is just so beautiful.
Yeah. The stories can choke you up. And, and he said, you literally, why do we say saving a life? Because Geerz helps the kids that fall between the cracks. We always say, these are the kids that have their backpacks on. They look cool. They got their Nikes on. They're going to school. But inside, they're a mess. And you don't know it until it's too late sometimes. So the father said, here is a kid who was going into serious depression, who didn't want to go to school anymore. And all of a sudden, the child bloomed and blossomed like they were in America, like they knew them for the last 10 years of their life. Geerz saved my kid's life. On top of that, he then said, later he comes back to follow up with me 6 months later. And he said, when we made Aliya, every time we had a puncture, we have flat tires, I would wait. This kid couldn't ride his bike, and my daughter couldn't ride her bike. And we waited till 5 bikes in the house all had flats, and then I would take all the bikes to the bike store and get them fixed. He said, all of a sudden, he comes home with a flat, and the dad's like, oh no, like this is my kid's lifeline. But now in his thinking, he's like, I gotta wait now till all the kids' bike get flats. The kid literally in the dining room flipped his bike over, because Geerz, that's part of what Geerz teaches is mechanics, flipped his bike over in 15 minutes, changed the tire by himself. And the dad is just looking, a 10-year-old kid. The dad's looking at him with his mouth dropped open, free of charge. The kid fixed his bike, 10 years old, fixed the flat in the living room. And the dad said to me, I'm not giving any more tzedakah to America. Israel's where it's at.
I love it.
At 10 years old, he's saving me money. He's independent. You saved his life. My money is staying here in this country.
By the way, that is exactly why I had you on this vlog, because Geerz is really, it's saving lives. It's helping Olim transition, and you're doing a fantastic job. And Hashem should help you continue doing what you're doing for many years to come, helping hundreds and will become thousands and thousands of children, Olim and Israelis. Thank you for coming on, Nachum. This was absolutely fantastic. Lots of fun. Can't wait to get on the trail with you, hopefully today or tomorrow. What's the best way to contact you, to contact Geerz, get involved with the organization, get their kid on a bike? By the way, we didn't even touch upon the fact that Nachum is a huge supporter of getting adults on bikes, men and women. That's a whole other video.
First of all, you can go to geerz.org, geerz.org. You can go there. You can email me. You can call me. My information is there. Just get in touch with me, or get in touch with Donny Fine, and he will put you in touch with me. And yes, adults your mental health and emotional health and physical health is just as important as your children's. So when you get here, it's also a huge outlet. We have riders all over the country, adults, and we're changing adult lives as well, as many, many stories.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you, Nachum. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and keep doing what you're doing.